Once a quarter, we like to get together leaders at publishers and ask them about the current trends.
We even, Mike, if you remember, I started a podcast at Impact last year specifically called the Publisher's Playbook, specifically to dig in a little bit to these topics. And you said something really interesting on that podcast, that publishers were going to be forced to double down on like real firsthand content or risk getting buried. It used to be on a more steady, but you'd have like, that the coupon thing that happened, and then so budgets would shift over to another area. I think the good news is that, when you have a lot of, I think you called it dynamic, but I call it a little bit chaotic. When you have that, that opens up a lot of challenges, but it opens up a ton of opportunities as well. And I think publishers who are good at adapting to change and building strong data strategies and forging the right partnerships, people with a lot of experience in this, I think that there's a lot of opportunities in there.
I'm the SVP of eCommerce for Vox Media, overseeing e-commerce revenue, affiliate revenue for the portfolio of brands at Vox Media, which includes The Strategist, which is our primary shopping destination site amongst our portfolio.
At the same time, there has been kind of what I think of as like the first kind of genuine impact of AI. I think there was a lot of kind of like conversation about how this would impact the industry. Real relationships have started to be formed where we can start to see like the buds of what these products will be in the future and make some degree of prediction around how that's going to impact our world. What has practically changed in your role in the past 18 months?
And so I think in the heyday of where SEO traffic was a lot more predictable and the mix of our traffic sources was a little bit more predictable. But I think the shift has really started to take form in what we're executing on, what our top priorities are. And I think that kind of shift on quality and loyal users, people that are coming to our site 4 times or more in the past 30 days, people that are engaging, people that are opening our newsletters, people that follow us on social. And I'm also doing my darnest trying to get more resources on our product engineering side to build out more features to cater to loyal users as well.
Because there was a time where if a publisher writes about it and they're pretty good at SEO, they can rank, and that thinking about not how much can we just throw out there of thin, low quality content, but actually where do our brands have a right to be that source of trusted advice for audiences, for consumers, has been the biggest step change. And then I think after I was a year in, that's when I picked up the transformation half of my role. And that was very deliberate from my standpoint, which was.
So you said we have to move on from being an SEO obsessed business, which I think it's been quite common for quite a while. And then you just said something interesting, which was kind of your role is transformation into e-commerce and commerce.
Of course, we're in a period of commerce transformation, but I certainly haven't experienced anything but that since starting, nor do I expect to experience anything but that over the next 5 years.
Well, it does feel like commerce is now credibly part of any content organization, which I don't think that was true 7 years ago or 8 years ago. Like consumer is comfortable with commerce being embedded as long as it's done in the right way.
I mean, this is, a while back, but like when strategists kind of entered the industry, there really wasn't that many other competitors out there.
Is that something that, Vox is doubling down on, and how does that impact your role?
I think it is so important and critical to what I was talking about before in terms of achieving growth in our loyal audience. Second, I would say is a smart acquisition growth plan. So focusing on all the right channels. SEO is right now a part of that acquisition strategy, but it also has to include a healthy mix of other non-search channels like email, newsletter, potentially some paid. Maybe Apple News is part of your distribution plan as well, but some sort of an acquisition play. And so I think you need to provide your users with a useful and an enjoyable reading and shopping experience on your site. You got to make things easy to scan through, easy to understand. What is this product about? What is the writer telling me? So that you could quickly get to that decision of, do I want to buy this thing or not? That involves things like multiple buy buttons, clear product images, products out in the wild, not just a retailer photo. Maybe that is being able to save articles or save products and getting alerts. And filtering capabilities and all of that.
My take is that the winning formula has to be a much more blurry combination of product and product development and content as well. I think, again, our job, and this probably comes onto the second part of the question, is to blur the lines between content and product as much as possible, but then also blur the lines between retail and publishing as well. Some retailers are less good, so there's a bigger role for publishers to play in helping guide people to the hidden gems they might not otherwise find on the internet. So yeah, it just all gets blurrier and blurrier in terms of content and product, in terms of retail, and in terms of publishing. And that's where you've got to build robust, scalable platform tech, but have enough flexibility that you can build and retain some brand identity alongside that. So as a retailer, when I am ranging, when I'm merchandising my category, when I'm working out which products to promote, it's really biased by my gross margin. So which categories, which retailers are giving me a higher margin, who is funding the promotion today, and that's going to determine what I advertise. So in a previous world where at least your browse and search experience would showcase what you want to shop, it's now being hijacked by sponsored listings and all of that stuff in the retail space as well. And that's something we hold really, really true in the work that we do, and something people always frown at me a bit because I'm on the hook for the commercial side.
But I love your take based on that conversation you had with Jessica from Perplexity, where you think some things are going in terms of content and engagement, and how people are going to be engaging with publishers via kind of these AI platforms.
And so you have all, this wide spectrum, and various different shoppers fall on different things. So from Vox Media side, we believe in AI to be able to power, as we were talking about before, a better user experience on our site. And we think the technology could be great to help us sort through and make sense of all of the data that we're sitting atop. We have so many pieces of content, evergreen articles, things that get updated all the time, all the new stuff, all the sales coverage, all the gift articles. And so we think AI could be a great way to make sense of all of this data and ultimately be able to offer a much more dynamic as well as a personalized shopping experience. But I think within these AI platforms, whether it's OpenAI or Perplexity or the tons of others out there that are a little bit more even specialized in shopping, there is a role we can play, but ultimately we want to strike that relationship directly with our users. And I think AI could help us do that much more efficiently.
So, have you gotten to the point of, really being able to understand what potential economics look like when you're working with Perplexity or OpenAI versus Google, or are we still very early stages in this?
It's definitely a possibility, which is why, and Google has never paid publishers for anything.
I think, at the moment, it just means that shopping is worse before it's better. So it's a trade-off they're playing, which is they give exceptional value to consumers through the choice they have, through the simplicity they have, through effectively being the default shopping point.
But I'm curious, kind of, we often do these webinars and we gloss over Amazon, and I don't think we should.
And you see it as, when you go to Amazon.com or do any search and land on the search results pages, obviously, things trend in and out, but I think there's plenty of other options out there, and our editorial teams are eager to take advantage of those and try to see what else is resonating besides Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, it seems obvious when you say it, but it's like where the consumer or reader comes from matters in terms of what they want to do. We had a newsletter yesterday where the ESP told me that our sponsor Impact actually had, I think, 2,000 registrations for their or sign up for their webinar, which I guarantee did not happen.